a totally independent music festival. Do the right thing and buy your tickets in advance, for the love of God. Now, enjoy this podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Shnug presents Éalú Le Grá. My name is Richard Loftus.
I'm Lavin.
In this series we will explore the music and arts festival Éalú Le Grá as it goes into its third year. Today we are joined by Emmet Kerrigan, also known as Kegs, butcher, builder and DJ, and Darragh O'Connor, bard, DJ, creative producer, also known as Fluid Druid. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us. Glad to be here.
How are you keeping?
Very good, no?
Mighty.
So we're this is episode 2 of the Shnug Presents.
Yes, it is.
And we've a kind of a different lighting feature today.
Yeah, it's like little green dots all over the place.
And the aliens have landed.
Yeah.
This is kind of the stuff that you mainly do in your kind of live feeds and stuff, Darragh, is it?
Pretty much, yeah. We like to bring the lights and the vibes wherever we go.
Yeah.
In the car?
In the car, always,
Yeah.
just in case.
He doesn't leave home without it.
Really, that's the way to do it, yeah.
It's-
A lot
I
of batteries.
Have a go bag.
Yeah.
It's like, what? There's a party? There's something going
Yeah.
on? It's a podcast? We'll bring it anyway.
Yeah, that's the way to do it.
That's actually a good way to do it, actually, yeah. So Darragh, or Emmet, we'll start with you first. So as a butcher, you're a brewer. So you're kind of the co-owner of All About Kombucha, is that correct?
Yeah, so All About Kombucha, it's a kombucha company based in Galway. We've been brewing kombucha now for about 5 years. That's taken us from the back of my house in the little shed, putting the little SCOBY and the sugar and tea together and brewing that, figuring it out to a 6,500 square foot warehouse on the outskirts of Clare Galway now. And
nice.
so
Now,
it's
do you
been-
have to have just stacks and stacks of Scobies waiting to go, or how does that work?
Yeah, it's a little bit more complicated now when you're doing commercial brewing, but we'd have, 1,000 litre batches. So we'd have, maybe 5 batches coming through each week. So we're doing, about 5,000 litres a week at the moment. And, we're canning that up, which is a recent thing that we got into. So we're in bottles for a long time and now we're gone into cans. But it's been an absolute mad journey.
And what is a SCOBY? Just because if people don't know when they're listening here.
SCOBY is a hard person from Limerick.
Yeah.
No, but a SCOBY is an acronym for symbiotic culture of bacteria and yeast. So that's what the kombucha is made up of. So it's the bacteria and yeast interacting with each other, making sugars, making alcohol, and that alcohol is converted into acid, and that's what you get this nice twang from drinking kombucha. So it has like a beneficial stuff for your gut in it, like the act of bacteria and yeast in it is beneficial for your I suppose your digestive system.
Yeah.
And why did you go with kombucha?
Well, I went to Canada with a friend of mine who's my co-partner in the business, Keith, when we were 21, 22, and we had like a little landscape construction business over there called Emerald Services BC. We're kind of really into business and scheming from a very early age.
Scheming.
So
It's a good scheme.
we were building fences and decks for rich people in Vancouver, and we were absolute cowboys, 2 Irish boys with a van and a couple of tools and just a lot of YouTube tutorials. And while we were doing that, we were going into the health food stores, getting our lunch and stuff here and there. It's just, Vancouver's like yoga pants and kombucha.
Yeah.
And we'd seen this fridge and it was dedicated to this single product kombucha. And we're like, wow, geez, this isn't happening at home at all. That there's a fridge dedicated to this product. And I come from a retail background. My parents used to own a Super Value. So I was like, this is kind of phenomenal that there's a full fridge dedicated to a single cold beverage. So after we came back from Canada, we couldn't stay there long because we were just scheming a lot and not adding much to the actual country. We said, okay, this is business number 2. Let's give this a go, because I reckon there might be a fridge for kombucha in Ireland someday. And yeah, we're 5 years on, and yeah, we're probably one of the most well-known kombucha companies in Ireland. We're not the biggest yet, but we're on the way. So it's the plan is paying off so far.
That's fantastic. Yeah, that's
You're
great.
award winning and all that kind of job now, aren't you?
Yeah, it's sure every company's award winning. You're always paying for some sort of table to win an award, but yeah, we're award winning. We got we won best drink, like soft drink of the year last year, 2022, and we've done mad collaborations with like restaurants and different food people around Ireland. So yeah, the brand is fairly well known, and we're going to be launching in Musgrave soon. So
Okay.
every Super Value and Centre in Ireland will be having our cans in it. So
That's great.
Fair play.
yeah, we're about to
How many
take
different
off.
like flavors do you have?
We have 4 core flavors:
Okay.
raspberry, blueberry, turmeric, and ginger and lemon.
Okay.
And then we do load of limited editions as well with like we just did a collaboration with Kai. We worked with Jess Murphy to do like elderflower and blackberry, all kind of locally sourced and fermented, and we were selling them in Kai and Galway. So that was like a real good collaboration for us.
Do you have any like? Do you give them different names?
The
Or you just like,
kombuchas.
or you just say like All About Kombucha and then like the flavor.
Yeah, mostly just the flavor and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's not like beer, how it would be like, like your mother's piss or something. Like there's all beers have all these different kinds of names.
Yeah, we're not as creative
Wow.
in the kombucha.
I was the first thing that came to my head. I know.
Wow, that's the first thing
Or-
that came
yeah.
into
Shower beer. That's a beer I've heard of before. That's a nice beer.
I might start doing that now. My father's piss.
Yeah, that's it.
Good for the gut.
I always thought a good name. I always thought a good name for kombucha would be hippie vinegar. It's
Yeah,
like, there you go,
That's
buddy.
what it is, though.
So just kind of to circle it around then. So you're bringing the Booch Bar then to the festival to Éalú Le Grá. So how did you get involved with the lads? You said before that you knew them from back in the day when you were setting up like parties and fundraisers and stuff like that. Is that right?
Yeah, we got involved with the guys. We knew them. They were kind of a little bit older than us, and they were friends with my brother. But I'd seen that they were doing really good things with this. They were called passion parties. So it was raising money for
Is
charity.
that in Irish?
through-
Is it passion? Is it?
Yeah, just like passion.
Yeah.
And like we went to one of their parties. I think it was like a couple of years ago, maybe like 4 or 5 years ago, and I was just like, wow, the vibes of these parties, like they're very good. Like, so I was like, who's organized this? And I just found out the organizers, like, lads, I want to get involved in this. I haven't been like doing much about like organizing parties and stuff, but like I knew there was something good here. And that was when we started kicking off. So it was like all the kind of Éalú Le Grá core members were part of that. So that was when we started kind of collaborating on parties. And then like the boys were like, Emmet, he's up for it, he's up for doing work and, getting things going. So we did a few raves post-COVID. We were called Ground Zero. They were more camp outs, like, so they're like paid events. You go out, you camp. We'd have food, we'd have kombucha on tap, we'd have like DJs playing all night. And then that was when I like kind of was hearing murmurs about Éalú Le Grá 1, and I was like, I definitely want to get involved, help out, and I'd love to get like the brand in as well. And
Yeah.
so for the first one, we did had the Booch Bar there doing kombucha on tap, and we did like food and stuff as well. So it was class to bring what I'm passionate about, bring it into a festival that's very much about passion, and it was unbelievable to collaborate with the lads. And we've just been kind of scheming and working together ever since. And I've been a big part of the build for year 2. So myself and Tommy were like very central in the build for year 2, and we started working on that kind of in May of 2022, getting ready for the festival, building props and building installations and stuff. And it was a mammoth experience. It was a lot of hard work, but
I can imagine.
the magic
Sounds
that
like
was
it.
there was it's unbelievable when you dedicate so much time and effort to putting something together. But it's like, that's one thing that I talk about. It's like, I spent 10 years working in business, and I was like, making money is easy, making magic is difficult, but it's the way more rewarding than making money.
Yeah. And that's where you met Darragh.
Yeah, so myself and Darragh and all the guys, we all met at the last Éalú Le Grá.
So number 2. So Darragh, your kind of background is kind of like you started off with kind of performance poetry. Would that be correct to say?
That's absolutely right. Yeah.
I did my research. Don't worry.
Yeah, I'm very impressed with you actually. Wow, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I started off doing performance poetry years ago, and always had a grá for the tunes. And I'd DJ'd when I was younger, and then I was living in Vietnam, and got into the swing of DJing and doing events and everything. But then I started performing music, and I decided to kind of combine the two of them.
Yeah.
And I branched off into live electronic music then.
And did the branching off to live electronic music, did that start? You were in Hanoi, were you?
That's right. Yeah. So living in Hanoi, and what I found was that Hanoi had this very lush underground scene, and it was kind of like the Wild East, where anyone with an idea could just run with it.
Okay, that's cool.
And I had some really cool opportunities over there, and just fell in love with it, and realized, wait, this is what I want to be doing.
Yeah.
And got a chance to kind of hone that craft a little bit, find what my sound was, what my style was. At the same time, I was running these open format, basically open mics, where I was also encouraging everyone else to get involved with whatever their creative thing is, and just really enjoying the co-creation magic that comes out of that. So having found that sense of what it is I like to do and how to go about it, then I was moving back to Ireland and thinking, okay, so I've been lucky enough to have the sense of an underground in Hanoi for a few years, and I know I want to be doing now, but I wonder what's going on in Galway, because I've been out of the loop for so long. I didn't know.
You're from Galway, are you?
I am indeed, yeah. I'm from Galway, but even before Vietnam, I'd been living in Spain for a few years and kind of been traveling around, so I was quite disconnected from what had been going on in the town for years. So I had no idea about any of this. All the stuff that Kegs was talking about there, about these, these parties and raves and all these gatherings, that was all off my radar at the time. So moving back, I honestly had no idea even if there was a scene. I kind of came back here with the intention of either finding the scene, or if there wasn't one, starting it.
Yeah, that's the way to do it.
Right, and it has to start somewhere. And it was just in the weeks before Éalú that I heard about it for the very first time.
Yeah.
And it was just before I moved back, and like it was, the serendipity of the great algorithm just threw out a post from one of the people facilitating workshops, and she was talking about this upcoming festival in County Galway called Éalú Le Grá. And I'm like, okay, that sounds interesting. Maybe this might be a place for me to showcase what I've got, or to get involved, or to do things. And then I looked into it, and I could immediately see from the website and from their socials exactly what their vibe was, and the whole ethos behind it. It just resonated really hard. So I wrote an email about this long in through the contact page on the website, explaining what it is I wanted to do and that I was eager to help out. And the guys were so receptive, and that's kind of what had me hooked right from the start.
Yeah.
Was that I got a sense that they were very much of the mindset of like, well, if you have a thing that you would like to contribute and to be a part of this in some way, then we will do whatever we can to help facilitate that, and everybody benefits massively from that then as a result.
Yeah, that's what Tommy said last week, actually, didn't it? That that's what he enjoys about providing this platform for people and whatever kind of creativity that they want to showcase.
It's amazing. Like as an artist, or as a person who wants to be a part of these things, like to have these opportunities, it opens up doors that you could only really dream of otherwise.
Yeah.
What you call it? So, Psychegaelic?
Yes.
Was that post Éalú Le Grá too?
That was born at Éalú, pretty much. Because I had been doing I was finding my way with the live electronic, and I moved back home, and I had a few tunes that I was ready to do. I mean, the main thing I was doing at the last Éalú was this open mic showcase thing that I mentioned, which I call Away with the Fae. So that was the main thing that I was doing, but there was also space for me to do a few of my own tunes. And it was literally the week of Éalú, like I'm talking, days beforehand. I'm out walking the dog, and the way sometimes inspiration just hits and you download an idea or a song or a painting or whatever it is. And I'm like, whoa! And that was the start for me of Psychegaelic, which was bringing in, you know, what I know about the live electronic side and the, you know, these underground sounds that I'm obsessed with, but also now incorporating in parts of Irish mythology and the Cúpla Focal, because, you know, I discovered this new grá for An Gaeilge. Like I'm doing the Diplomas of Gaeilge in the university now. Yeah, I'm loving it. So Psychegaelic was bringing in all of those aspects together. So I got to do a few tunes of that at Éalú, and I've been developing that into a full show since.
And then you performed that then at the Smock-Alley Theatre for SCENE+HEARD Festival, is that right?
Richie, you're incredibly well informed. Yes, absolutely. I off the back.
I do all the research and I give it.
It's all lab.
It's a team effort. Yeah, that's right. So I mean, like, and that's what I'm saying. Like, why Éalú was such an important opportunity was it was the catalyst for all of that, and really the momentum from that then meant that I was able to, you know, take what I'd started there, and I got involved with the Burning Man communities here and in Spain also, and I was performing it for them over there. And then Caoimhe Connolly, who's one of the directors of the SCENE+HEARD festival in Dublin, she brought me on to basically produce an entire show around this concept up in Smock-Alley there in February.
Oh, so you hadn't formulated the full show in your head before she contacted you?
I mean, I had a couple of songs for it, and it's one of those things where it's like you go for it, you get the application in, and then it's like, whoa, I've been accepted. I guess I better go do the thing now.
And this is the mythology interlaced stuff, is it? We were talking about.
Exactly.
Is there any particular like area, like as far as like more modern, like Yeats kind of fairy and folk tales, the Irish peasantry stuff, or is it kind of like older stuff that you'd be kind of using and focusing on?
Both.
Okay.
Actually, both of exactly what you just said there.
Okay.
Like, say I've got songs that are like, you know, one of them's about like, you know, bog spirits. And you know, the different things that you find out there in the marshes, and, you know, the demons in your mind and all that. But then I've another kind of a rap ballad about Ireland's original, you know, gangster hero Fionn McCool. And I, you know, kind of going on that side of it. So I'm just enjoying the exploration of kind of taking these stories and viewing them through a more contemporary lens. And with the sounds and everything that I'm putting with it.
You got the Fógin Mara in there.
Sinead.
Yeah? Fuck yeah. That's the best one.
What is that?
The Fógin Mara.
Fógin Mara.
That's when the stray sod? Is that what it is?
The stray sod.
It's when you're going home from a pub or anywhere at night time and a thick fog comes over. And this is how I know it anyway. And you can't find your way out of this fog at all.
So it's like
and so you're just in there in this fog, and you're like, "Whoa, what the fuck?" And you're in there forever until you take your coat off, turn it inside out, and you're able to get out of it then.
Yeah.
And my buddy Cody was saying, sure, it's probably just what fucking old fellas told their wives going home. Like, the reason why they're home so late, like, they're in the Fógin Mara, you know. But I that's one of my favourite things, the Fógin Mara. I love it.
That's one of them, and the old Will of the Wisp.
Oh, yes, of course. Yeah.
And there's so many of them, like, across the country and in different countries and stuff like that.
But that's the thing. Like, we're so, like, we've got such a rich history and like a folklore of all of these stories and tales that I think people seem to have a renewed interest in at the moment. There's this wonderful awakening going on across the country where we're reconnecting with, you know, the tales of our land, and even reconnecting with the land itself. So it's a wonderful thing to tap into. Yeah.
So that's actually, it kind of ties in with All About Kombucha as well, because you're very much you're kind of involved with kind of conservation as well through your home tree charity kind of stuff as well. But I'm sure the principles of that kind of match with Éalú Le Grá as well, because you're all about, you know, leave no trace and kind of contributing to, like, you know, eco-friendly kind of endeavors.
Definitely the two kind of groups like match very, like, they're very similar in terms of like the ethos as well. I suppose we're all coming from that kind of same background of Burning Man. You know, Tommy was originally and Dave, they're originally one of the lads that were encouraging me to go to Burning Man back in 2017. So I went with them, and, you know, some of the principles of Burning Man would be leave no trace. So there is a kind of a flavour of Burning Man both in All About Kombucha and in Éalú Le Grá. So that's kind of like where it all matches like nicely together. And, you know, part of All About Kombucha is like we're 1% for the planet, so we're giving 1% of our revenue each year back to these charities that are supporting ecology and stuff like that, like the Home Tree charity down here in the Burn.
They're sound lads.
Yeah, Matt and Mitch, they're good guys. Like
Rio Fulu.
Yeah, yeah. So they're yeah. So that was just like part of it when I was like bringing the business to life. I was like, okay, son, let's try and give back through business. Like let's try and do good business. Like it's hard at times, to do that, but to have that as like an idea and then to be at the top of that business is to keep implementing it. It's good because there's so many businesses out there that are just not trying to do anything. Like you're obviously going to cause some damage when you're doing business, but it's good to have an essence of goodness within your business. I think so.
It'll help you sleep at night as well, because there's no point making the money while the world burns, so
yeah, exactly. And it's burning pretty quickly, so we better keep working, like.
So you met at Éalú Le Grá number 2, and out of that there was kind of a genesis of a different project that you're both involved in. Pronounce it, because I got it wrong. Yawlag. Right, so what is that then?
Yawlag is Galway backwards. So Yawlag is a DJ producer collective that we kind of formulated after Éalú. There was a good group of guys around that were kept in close contact after Éalú Le Grá. They were everybody's full of beans after the festival, because the platform that the lads had provided for us to all showcase our building skills, our playing skills, like everybody was just like very amped up after the festival, and we needed to channel this energy in some direction. So we decided to form this collective, and we've been doing that since October. We're coming up on our 8th gig this Saturday, doing gigs in the Tyvark, we're planning doing some camp outs and other bits and bobs, and teaching people how to DJ through like doing these mixed meetups as well. So the response on that has been tremendous, and there's a flavour of Éalú Le Grá in the Yawlag collective as well. So it's all synergistic in terms of like we're bringing DJs, we're giving them opportunity, and then these DJs eventually should be playing at Éalú Le Grá. Like that's kind of the essence of what will be happening. So the Yawlag collective is doing like the monthly parties, whereas like the lads are focusing on like bringing this huge project together every year, and we're supporting by nourishing the community in Galway. So if you like Éalú Le Grá, you're going to like the Yawlag parties, because they're one of the same.
So the community has grown year on year with Éalú Le Grá, so this is the first kind of baby. So
for sure,
there's probably going to be something next year then as well, additional to that. So what are you planning to bring yourselves this year to Éalú Le Grá?
Well, there's a few things going on, I guess.
Couple cans
off the back to start. There's that's the thing. I think the whole it feels exponential, the energy and the momentum that comes from these things, where really like the more you're putting into it, the more you're getting out of it, and I guess as we were kind of already saying, like it is such a community driven project that you can't help but feel like everyone is all in it together, and you really want to be brainstorming together, doing the hard graft and seeing the results of that, getting to really kind of just enjoy the whole process of it. So some of the things that we kind of, I mean, from my side anyways, in terms of being able to now provide and deliver at this year's Éalú. So I'll be doing Away with the Fae again, which is an open mic where everyone is encouraged to get involved with whatever their thing is. If you want to get up and read a poem, great. You want to go up and sing a few tunes, mighty. You want to bring up this big didgeridoo and get someone with, guitar and effects pedals and make a soundscape, cool. It's to have everyone who's in attendance at the festival feel like they're also a part of it, that there's no gatekeeping, there's no sense of like, the stage is only for the lucky chosen few. It's the artist, right? It's like, no, everyone's an artist, so let's facilitate a space where people feel safe and comfortable enough to get that out there. So that's one big part of it. I'll also be performing Psychegaelic, the show that was developed for SCENE+HEARD. So there's a nice sense that that's now coming full circle, because it was an idea that was kind of born at the last Éalú, and now I've developed it into a full live electronic show that I'll be bringing back to Éalú again. So that'll be special. And then also for those who perhaps want to reconnect with themselves and have a bit of a stretch, we're going to be launching something I call Deep House Yoga, which are two things that go very well together. And that'll be a chance for people to enjoy a vinyasa yoga class set to the lovely tones of a deep house set on the Saturday afternoon.
It's on a Saturday afternoon. Not too early.
Not too early, but not too late also. You know, because you know yourself when you're sleeping on the ground, you're going 3 days straight. It's nice to actually give your body that break, have a bit of a stretch, and you can go a lot longer then.
Yeah, true. And then Kegs, for yourself, the Booch Bar is coming back, is it?
Yeah, the All About Kombucha will be there in some capacity. We're just kind of figuring that out because we're very busy at the moment with the contracts and everything coming in. But yeah, we'll be doing something with Yawlag. We might be doing the mix, like a little mix tutorial. Maybe on the Saturday morning, we're teaching people how to use the decks and stuff like that. So we might have like 5 decks set up, and the Yawlag committee will be there, you know, helping people, teaching people how to DJ. That might be like an hour. Myself and Darragh will be playing at some stage as well in terms of like, you know, DJing. I'm also like heading up the wellness area as well, like in terms of doing like hot tubs and sauna at it this year as well. So that's like a side project that I was just interested in doing and pursuing. And then obviously the build as well, like, so I'm going to be like core member of the build team, doing stage design, doing all the building, doing all the functionality of getting it up and running. We'll be the guys sweating for a week beforehand.
So when you say
a lot of work,
just a lot of work.
Jesus. Yeah, well done.
It's worth it.
Yeah,
I'm used to the hard work.
So you're heading up the wellness and stuff like that. So how do you plan for something like that? If you're going to do hot tubs and stuff like that, there's a lot of logistics involved. I'm sure you're talking to different people.
Got to get the water.
Yeah, water and electricity. Well, I'm going to build some nice signs and create a little area, sanctuary, then bring in the hot tubs and the sauna and all that sort of stuff, and then have somebody man it, just to create a nice like we didn't have that last year at Éalú. So I see that as like, okay, so that would be a great thing, that you can go for a hot tub, or, you know, you can book your hot tub.
Great at a festival.
Yeah, exactly.
My God,
so
it's great at a festival.
so I see that as like an opportunity. Like, I know the lads
gotta be clean, you know.
Yeah,
even a friend's hot tub's gotta be cleaned out.
We'll change the water on Sunday morning.
Change the water, okay.
Be a bit murky, like.
Yeah,
that'd be grand. But it's class, like it's a platform to do these like expressions of creativity. Whether you're, you know, creating a little wellness area, you're DJing on the main stage. It's like it's all our friends that are involved that are doing all these different bits, you know. So like that's an amazing feeling, that like no matter where you turn on the weekend, you know, whatever you're touching or hearing, like, you know, it's one of your mates that have created that, you know. So that's a fantastic feeling. Like that was the flow of it last year. It was like, it was so many people that were there were performing as well, or adding something to it, that it was just such a blend between, you know, people being involved in the festival and people actually attending the festival. It was just like, it was very fluid, like, so that it was an amazing, you know, way of just expressing yourself, you know. And like last year, like I'd doing a bit of DJing before it, but like I performed at the Booch Bar, and then I got a few other opportunities to perform during the weekend. And sure, after that, like my whole expression for music, like, had just like blown up. And like that was when I was like, sound, I'm going into music now, and I'm going to focus on that for like the few months. But like, sure, we're a few months later now, we have the DJ collective and we're gigging regularly. So it's amazing to see that little spark by being given a platform and see where that brings you. So it'll be cool to meet up with people this year that like got the spark last year and just be like, what are you up to now? It's like, geez, you've gone far, like. So
and how many people are in the collective then?
That's a good question. It's grown a lot, actually, the last, because it started off with 7 of us coming out of the last Éalú, and that quickly swelled then to, I mean, now we're doing like our nights in the Taibhjark, like that, which has kind of become our spiritual home throughout the year.
And Taibhjark, for people that don't know,
The Taibhdearc, for people that don't know, is Ireland's national Irish language theatre.
Is it?
It is.
I didn't know it was national.
National.
Yeah, it's Ireland's national. Well, sure, Galway is the universal capital of the Irish language, so it makes sense that we would have the theatre for it here too. And they have a very wonderful kind of a bar cafe area that was done up in recent times, and they've opened it to, I guess, alternative events like ours, and it just works very well. Now, we've done other events like we did a great one in Cook's Thatch Bar for Paddy's, and we've been up in Clifton also, and obviously we're going global with this, but the Taibhdearc is where we keep coming back to, and we're seeing a lot of
Let's
the
refract next.
yeah, absolutely. Schlip is setting the place up for us, and so we're coming back to the Taibhdearc. Actually, our next one's only there at the end of this week, and like we're now comfortably filling that, and that's a capacity of what would you say, Kegs? Maybe 80 people.
80, yeah.
80 about thereabouts, and we can already feel that the community is growing and growing as word is getting out, as people are hearing what it is we're about, what are the principles that we have it based on. And also the fact that we're leaning hard into this whole, much is the same as Éalú, where it's the kind of thing where anyone can be involved.
Yeah.
You know, you want to come, you want to express yourself, mighty. You want to do this yourself, come along to the mix-ups. We'll teach you how it's done. You know, like, again, there is no gatekeeping. It is for everyone.
Yeah.
Anyone can DJ, so give it a go.
Yeah, it's great. Actually, it's strange how COVID has kind of facilitated this underground growth, because the big clubs have closed down, but now you have. There was fuck all in Cook's Thatch Bar when I was in Galway when I was younger,
Right.
or the Taibhdearc, you know, or Shnug, all these different places that kind of host kind of club nights that were never there before. So there gives you your kind of pick of the bunch, because you might be fighting over. You're not going to bring something like that really to the GPO, or Karma might not be suitable to what you're doing. But like smaller club night places would be open to it.
Absolutely, yeah. And it is. You're right. It is kind of a strange thing, because there are no clubs left at the moment. There's maybe there's DNA, and that's great for the kids. Let them have that. But for the rest of the scene, there's nothing else really going on. So what you've noticed now is over the last few years, it's the underground scene and all the various collectives that have picked up the slack, that are running the events, that are providing these spaces. So it's kind of a good thing in one sense, in that, like you said, it's given us the opportunity to actually step up and do this. But this has been born out of a very real need for spaces and nights like that in the city, which aren't being provided otherwise at the moment.
Yeah, I think it's way better, to be honest.
Yeah, it's great. It's almost like a breath of fresh air as far as the Galway scene. Because, like, I've said it before on the podcast. Like, I feel Galway's kind of in its death throes of what it used to be. It's not like, probably because I'm an old man now, but like it's. Because when I was 18, it was fucking great crack,
Jesus,
like,
give it up.
and now it's just kind of. It seems like it's like a seaside town, like old, how Salt Hill is. It kind of just seems a little bit kind of like, it's had its day, but it seems like you guys are like breathing more life back into Galway and filling its lungs back up, and it's just great to hear,
Oh, thanks, Evan.
100%, and it's because, like, with the big clubs that were there, Carbon, Electric, and Halo or whatever, it was to become a resident there, to play tunes there, was very hard, and that's where everybody's going to listen to music.
Of course, yeah.
To become that DJ that, there's 150 people in Electric on a whatever Saturday night, to become that person that's playing behind there is like very hard.
Of course,
because it's hard to get up to that space. But with the underground scene now, there's a lot of groups, that are giving opportunity to local DJs to play, including ourselves. Like that's where I see Yawlag as, is like, this is an opportunity to, bring loads of DJs through. And the way I see it is, like, the more DJs there are in the town, the more parties are going to be, the more the nightlife is going to be thriving. Like, we're going to find places to throw parties, like, because there'll just be so many people that want to play. Yeah, create names instead of getting names from elsewhere to come in, because for a long time there wasn't a homogenous scene in Galway for a long time, I'd say.
Yeah, definitely. It's great. It's wonderful to see it,
Yeah, and then
you love to see it.
The second step of our project is going to be creating music, so like releasing under the Yawlag Collective. So we're going to be like learning ourselves how to make tunes. Obviously Darragh's able to make tunes already, but we're all like focusing on like the next step is to be creating tunes, because like that's really how you get recognized. So like if you have more people creating electronic music in Galway, so that's just going to make the scene even better. So 5 years from now we'll see we'll see how we got on. Like, you know,
The Éalú Le Grá label.
And like initiation into Yawlag, is it like Freemason kind of stuff?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You have to run
Nice.
naked through Shop Street
Yeah.
with the brick around
Yeah.
your Mickey.
And all the other Yawlag lads paddling you.
You are worthy.
Your flag.
Your flag.
What's that eye? What's that Mason eye? What's that one? The
The
Freemason.
thing that's on the Merchants Institute or the
Get that
Mechanics-
shit tattooed on you.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
Mechanics
yeah.
Institute in town.
Oh yeah, there is a Freemason thing in town there. On
it's the-
down on the fucking
Flood Street, isn't it?
No way.
down on the bridge, the mills. My friend Mulligan used to live right next to there.
It's a mechanics instrument, and it's on the Mechanics Institute.
Yeah, you know, like the
Yeah.
fucking the compass and the ruler.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But that's a kind of old
It's on the side of a building in Galway.
The
Anyway.
Mechanics Institute.
Is that what it
How many
is?
times do I have to say it?
Oh yeah, okay. Sorry.
There's a few curious spots like that. Like even actually out in Ballyglunin where Éalú Le Grá takes place. Like I was telling my grandfather about this, and he's like, "Where is it you're doing it?" And I was telling him about the spot, and he's like, "Oh yeah, it's the old because it's like is it a 15th century 16th century old kind of a manor, and it's a beautiful
Yeah.
out there. Like the site itself is gorgeous.
It's a domain, actually. I was googling it there during the week. So why is it called?
Well, just my grandfather thought it was interesting because he back in his day, that's where Opus Dei were.
Weird.
Ooh, Opus Dei.
Yeah, Opus Dei.
They're a great bunch of lads.
Well, he
Catholics.
he thought they were gas. He used to go out to retreats out there, and he
The
just
Opus
thought-
Dei.
Yeah, with Opus Dei. I know.
What
I know,
year
I
was
know.
this?
Oh, this would have been back in like the 60s, like way back. And yeah, right. But it was just kind of a funny sense of it kind of coming full circle.
Yeah.
It's another crowd who've moved in there, but
Funky energy out
funky
there.
energy.
So you're a cult, lads. Is that it? So what do you?
They didn't deny it.
Exactly.
What is the cult?
define a cult. Define a cult. You know.
We have symbols.
Who's the leader?
We have symbols. We have tunes. Here, have some Kool-Aid.
Yeah. So going forward for Éalú Le Grá number 3, what are you looking forward to most? It's a bit of a broad question.
I'd say just the amount of people that I kind of caught wind to it from last year. Just so many interesting creatives and good people that'll be out there. I'm just looking forward to just walking around on the Saturday morning and just like, you know, having a can and having a bit of breakfast and just like seeing the absolute shenanigans that's going to be going on, because it's going to be like last year was class and mad and wild and beautiful. Like I just think now it's getting a serious injection of life this year in terms of like the lineup, all the other creatives from Ireland that were kind of heard about it last year that probably didn't show up. Like everybody's going to be there this year, so yeah, it'll just be interesting to see where it goes.
Yeah.
Do you know? And it's just going to be class that our group is going to be at the core organizational team and creatives behind the project. So like, you know, it'll be, you know, Monday morning we'll be happy out when it all goes to plan.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'd say I'm looking forward to just seeing everyone there again. You know, I think like part of what makes Éalú Le Grá work is that it's because it's not a huge, massive festival with thousands and thousands of people. Like it actually feels very much like a community, and everyone there is kind of like your family for the weekend and even beyond. But to actually kind of like what Kegs touched on earlier, like to actually like reunite with everyone again and be like, oh, how are you going? You know, what have you been up to? What's the crack? And to kind of like have that sense of everyone coming back together to do this amazing thing and all. I mean, sure, you could never predict the magic and the randomness that comes out of it then. But it seems like with all of the hard work that Tommy and Evan and Dahi and Kegs and everyone are putting into it now, like it really, really feels like this is going to be a special year. And they have Axel Bowman, and I'm a huge fan of his, and he's sure to be putting out a hell of a set at the end.
Yeah. He's headlining, isn't it?
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
This is a musician, yes?
Yeah,
DJ.
yeah. He's an electronic musician, a DJ, producer,
Interesting,
artist
yeah.
chap. But he's really nice. Yeah,
Fantastic.
It's not all like like boom, boom, boom. Like his music has a lot of
Yeah.
a lot of, you could say, there's a lot of soul in it, and you pick a lot of sounds from around the world, and there's very much a sense of being taken on a journey. So it's perfect for Éalú.
That's great.
So, just to wrap it up, where can people find you and the stuff you're doing, and where they can find tickets for Éalú Le Grá?
Well, tickets for Éalú Le Grá are éalúlegrá.ie. So that's where you can get the Éalú Le Grá tickets. So get them now, because they're going to be selling out fast, I'm sure. And you can find me at Kegs the Creator on Instagram, and that's my own personal stuff for just like all the building stuff, the DJ, just kind of promotion of like what I'm at. And then at All About Kombucha for the Instagram, allaboutkombucha.ie. Cans delivered nationwide. They're gorgeous.
Come to the centre near you.
Nice plug. And then as for myself, I guess, well, for my own kind of, for the live electronic Psychegaelic shtick, that's all on my Instagram and on YouTube as Fluid Druid. And then also would definitely want to give a mention, if you look for the Yawlag Collective on Instagram or YouTube, you'll find all of the stuff that we're doing there in terms of the events and the mix meetups and all of that crack. And there's a real sense that, you know, this exponential momentum, you know, it's only really going one direction right now, and there's never a bad time to jump on.
Perfect. Well, thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can find us at the Shnug podcast with a H.
Yeah, you know where to find us. If you listen to this, you know where to find us.
Yeah, but no harm. Yeah,
Huh?
No harm.
Yeah, may as well.
Yeah. Lads, thanks so much.
Thanks a million
Guys,
for having
thanks
us.
for
Really
having us.
appreciate
Yeah,
it.
thanks,
lovely.
lads.
Yeah.
I fair play to you. I actually have been listening to this podcast since way before this idea was even floated. I think it's wonderful
serious?
what
Wow.
you're doing, getting different heads from around the town in.
Yeah,
Power
Very
to you.
kind. You're very kind.
Yeah, thanks
Well-
very much.
well done.
All right,
Yeah.
see you later. Enjoy yourselves.
It's on the phone.